There was a possibility of me losing my job soon, and instead of panicking, I am simply pivoting. I am going to be stepping into the world of tech with zero experience, of course, right? How else are we going to step in? But let me tell you exactly why I'm actually excited about this. So yeah, my job may be letting me go soon, and I could kind of tell based on the shifts of the job and the way things are going to be happening pretty soon. I'm like, this might happen soon. I'm assuming possibly next year, or the beginning of next year. So that might not be soon to you, but that is very much soon to me, okay? You know, instead of waiting for the floor to drop, I feel like it is time for me to mentally, plan and to mentally pivot in a better direction. Like, what if this is God actually redirecting me into something that I was meant to do, rather than it just necessarily being like a punishment or just something that's bad that's happening to a bunch of us, right, that are going to end up leaving and possibly being letting go from the job. Or let go from the job. Letting go is crazy. It's not failure neither. It's just honestly a redirection. The truth is, I have always been drawn to technology. I actually did one semester of computer science, if any of y'all didn't know that. It was simply one semester, like about 2 years ago or a year ago, I'm not too sure. And, I've always been interested in the technology world. I knew it was a place where you can make good money, but also there was just some sort of pull. It just was like playing a video game there, man. But I never really pursued it or continued to pursue it because of life circumstances that I decided to drop out and pull away from something that felt like a passion to me. Also, a part of me didn't feel like I could do it, right? I used to get very stressed, and not that I don't get stressed now, but I think now I know how to handle it, especially with the support of people around you. But at that time, I didn't have support. And, at that time as well, it just all was too much on. Like, especially to, how do you go from just doing something that was easy every day, right? Just showing up to school, showing up to classes, you didn't really have to worry about bills. Like, I was in that transition of life to trying to take on the world of tech, the world of code, the world of, just different things, back end, right? That's what computer science is. It's just really was difficult, especially jumping from some things that were very easy. And I definitely do want to pursue web development, and I love web development. But the problem is that web development is going to take time, especially being a front-end developer or even a full stack. That might take way longer than I anticipated, because I've been hearing that it is very difficult for people to get hired. So I don't really see myself getting hired at a job by the end of this year. It might even take 5 years, right? We don't know. So what I decided to do is pivot. But this YouTube channel is going to stay the same, because I will continue learning web development and will continue learning front-end development. I'm still going to be on this journey, right? This is just going to be something that I'm learning. But in the near future, when school either starts back up or maybe sometime next year, I am going to pivot, and where I will pivot to is going to be IT. So it's still going to be the tech field, but it's not necessarily going to have to do with too much coding until it gets into the serious stuff. So when I started learning about IT, I learned how in demand those skills really are. So I was like, wait, this might really be a huge opportunity that I can get myself into, especially with help desk. That's something that's very simple and normally where people start when it comes to their IT career. And I can approximately get paid, I believe, like $18 to $20 an hour starting off. And that sounds pretty good to me. It won't be too far of a drop off of what I get paid now. So I'm like, come on, that might be the route I need to redirect. But I'm not talking about some 4-year degree. I'm talking about going to school, 1-month class that teaches the basics of computers. I could probably teach myself that, honestly, without the 1-month class. But that was probably something that I feel like will be quick and will keep me, to continue to go to class and be able to necessarily learn what I need to learn. Now, there is a class for CompTIA, I believe is how you pronounce it, CompTIA A+, which is what people get for IT. There's a CompTIA IT, but I heard that people don't really get that one. That just teaches like the fundamentals of IT. But CompTIA A+ actually is what people look for when it does come to somebody in the IT field. So I'm feeling like I should probably go that route and end up getting that certificate. Now, I know there is a place where you could buy the certificate and then take it yourself at either a place or at home with your laptop screen on or camera on, my bad. But I was seeing that a nearby school around me actually does CompTIA A+ classes. But the problem is that they do it in a way that involves all the CompTIAs, because it's for IT and cybersecurity. It's like a cybersecurity course. and I don't want to have to take them all. So I'm gonna have to end up contacting that school to see, is it possible for me to take a 5-month class after my 1-month class, so 6 months in total, of CompTIA A+, and then hopefully being able to pass the CompTIA A+ test. I've also heard that people are just getting hired based on the CompTIA A+ certification on top of some hands-on practice. That is wild to me. I honestly think it's an opportunity that I should take, specifically being in the situation where I am in, where, you know, possibly in the beginning of next year, maybe a little bit further, I could potentially lose my career, right? Or things are going to be in such a massive change that I just probably wouldn't want to be there in general. So I think pivoting is really the goal here. So here is what I'm going to be doing later near in the future. I'm not too sure when, which is why I'm just bringing this up. I'm going to be starting with basic computer classes, either online or local, more than likely local, because I found the school I think I want to go to, right? And also too, I found out that the basic computer classes are free there. So, hey, listen, that's great. But I want to go just to build some confidence. I feel like I do know the basics, and since it's free, why not take the class? But you would be surprised at how much you can learn from something that is free. And once I've got the basics down, I'm going to be aiming for CompTIA A+ exams, practice exams, right? I just want to see what I know from the start. Also, I found out that CompTIA A+ is 2 exams, so that is going to be very scary and very much intimidating. I have been watching people pass it, and I think it's honestly built my confidence in taking the test. I even looked into it too, and I heard that it's not necessarily a hard test. Where people say it gets difficult, I believe, is when it's all like hands-on, not really the test itself. And then since I'm thinking long term, I'm thinking once I pass that test, there are going to just be jobs lined up for me. There's going to be help desk, tech support, possibly even remote work where I can grow into cybersecurity, networking, or software, which, you know, that isn't necessarily remotely close to web development or, you know, front-end development. So some people would probably say to just probably drop all that together and then pursue this. But I honestly think that I could pursue both, especially because I'm not necessarily focusing more into the depths of IT. I think I would prefer to possibly get into help desk just to have a career in tech, maybe go into tech support a little bit. But then I'm still planning on doing web development on the side. And with me learning that, hopefully I could potentially apply for a web development career rather than necessarily having to stay in this tech support route. But then again too, I might want to just stay there because eventually I'm sure you can lean into software engineering and or lean into cybersecurity, which I believe are more better off than web development. But you know, at the end of the day, I'm still gonna be in the tech field. I just don't really know which route to go. But as of right now, just to make sure I have a career set in stone and a footstep into the tech industry, I'm going to be going for IT. So I just wanted to mention that this isn't just about money. This is honestly about security, independence, and faith. Sometimes God closes doors that feel safe so that we can walk through doors that are actually meant for us. You know, so I've been feeling stuck, and maybe you have been too. But if door is closing in your life, maybe it is not the end, maybe it's honestly a new beginning. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Trust me, I'm definitely going through it mentally about what can happen and when it will happen and what will I do depending on if it happens at a time where I was not prepared. Shoot, I can possibly even be pursuing the CompTIA and fail a test or two. Shoot, I could be pursuing certificates on web development and fail, right? It's going to be a hard journey. But for once in life, I am okay with that because I finally started learning failure is truly when you start to learn. And I honestly think that is the best feeling in the world, and I've now designated failure or messing up or making a mistake as a real life learning opportunity. And I know a lot of people say that, but you don't really understand it, I feel like, until you end up getting into studying. And I don't know if it's necessarily just with coding, but when I run into something that's difficult and then I learn from it and then I know it, it doesn't bother me that I got it wrong. I'm happy that I now know it. And I think that's honestly the best thing that came from me learning and, you know, coming into this tech industry. I'd rather be building towards something than sitting still and just being scared to pursue something new or letting fear decide my future. So yeah, if you're in the season of uncertainty like I am, maybe it is time to pivot. So I'll be documenting my whole journey. Of course, I'm still going to be filming my web development, and like I said, I don't know when I will necessarily start pursuing IT. Maybe I could start trying to learn the basics without the class and or learn a couple things, you know, just as of now, but I will be taking you along the journey either way. Whatever I am learning, I will be taking you along the journey. Just remember, I'm never going to be dropping front-end web development. I love what I'm learning. This is the most interesting thing to me as of right now, and I really do enjoy it. I'll be documenting every win, every fail, every pivot, every I have no idea what I'm doing moment. And if you're thinking about jumping into IT too, let's do this together. Though I'll be starting a bit later. Let me know how it goes. Because the world is changing and we are allowed to change with it. Deuces.